Feel a chill?
If you follow certain circles online, you've likely heard of the First Descendant. Developed by Nexon, it's a fairly cookie-cutter looter-shooter. I spent about an hour or so playing it, and thought it would be worthwhile to get my thoughts out about it. It's important to say that currently I'm still very early in the game, and it's a deep experience, with a whole bunch of elements I haven't even hit yet, so take all of what I'm about to say here with a grain of salt. I really enjoyed the gameplay of the First Descendant. I found it pretty engrossing. The shooting in particular felt very rewarding. Hip firing with the extremely accurate auto-aim is just a breeze, and I liked that aspect a whole lot. The First Descendant is essentially Waifu Warframe, so whatever complaints people have with Warframe are going to apply here. I didn't get very far into Warframe, so I may be mistaken, but the First Descendant does have unique aspects going for it, specifically the hero-based characters. Each character has specials which can be used with MP after an arbitrary cooldown finishes. These specials are closest to the specials of various Overwatch heroes. I only played as Vieza, I don't know how to pronounce it, a character I couldn't even remember the name of before checking online. Her specials are all ice-based. She can slow and stun enemies with pretty much every single one of them. One special fires an ice shard, another lets you sprint around leaving ice that will slow down enemies. The other pushes a burst of wind against enemies that also slows them. Another one is a sort of wind tornado that once again slows enemies down. It's all very basic, but this is also a base character. What I can say from experience is that the game does come together very well. The combination of looter-shooter combat and hero abilities meshes together really good here. The best aspect here, however, is the co-op. I played the First Descendant all by myself without a party or anything, but in the early missions there was always people alongside me who were doing the exact same missions, in the exact same world, shooting the exact same enemies. This multiplayer combined with the different abilities was fun. Though none of this is new to looter shooters, it was to me, and I found it all pretty high quality in the First Descendant. While I haven't personally seen a ton of hype for the First Descendant outside of a few specific online communities, the same people who raised the earlier release Stellar Blade to massive success have now begun pushing the First Descendant as the next title like it. Stellar Blade, mind you, was also a Korean-developed game that took inspiration from popular titles and used certain character design to appeal to its consumers. Aside from that specific community, I hadn't really heard anything about the First Descendant. I am also in a single-player bubble, mind you. Either way, the game has been a resounding success. It always seems as if a Korean game gets published globally, it finds a huge fan base. I remember a few years back when Lost Ark released globally, it also had massive success. I really enjoyed the Lost Ark, but it fell off of it after a week of constant gameplay and 53 total hours. I never put so much time into a game in such a short span before Lost Ark, and I haven't since. I think the First Descendant will probably click with me the same. I played for a bit, sink an unreasonable amount of hours into it, and never return. That is okay with me, and since it's free, it's well worth the enjoyment. When Lost Ark launched, it had a huge player count, exclusively on Steam as well. Since then, Lost Ark has definitely shrunk in player count, but still averages around 30,000 concurrent players a day. Currently, the First Descendant is nowhere near hitting the same peaks as Lost Ark on Steam. That, mind you, is a task that's near impossible for any game. However, the First Descendant does have a high active player base regardless. Currently, at the time of writing, there are 140,000 active players on Steam alone. Who knows how many are playing on PlayStation and Xbox. The best part about the First Descendant over other Korean waifu games is the First Descendant has crossplay, is feature complete, is fun, has a decent gameplay loop, and is available on as many systems as possible. It's not just available on the current generation of consoles, but last gen as well. Critically, mainstream outlets haven't reviewed the First Descendant highly. Pretty much all of the reviews are close to negative. On Metacritic, the game is mixed with a 56 based on 18 reviews for PC. The First Descendant scores similarly on PlayStation and Xbox too, all in the low to high 50s. These games generally don't review well. After all, they are disposable titles. User reviews on Metacritic also aren't very good. For PC, it's sitting at 4.8 out of 10 based on 169 ratings. On console, it's in the low to high 5s out of 10, obviously. On Steam, reviews are also mixed and are very close to hitting negative. On the PlayStation Store, the game sits at 4.12 stars out of 5, while on Xbox, the game has around 4 3/4 stars out of 5. not terrible, but also worth noting that console players do seem to rate games much more favorably than the aggregates on Steam. As someone with no experience with looter shooters, I had some trouble getting accustomed to the First Descendant. There is a noticeable lack of accessibility features, or really any features in the settings currently. The biggest gripe I had was the lack of gyro controls. I'm playing on my PlayStation 5, a platform where the controller supports gyro, so why isn't it there? I'm much more accustomed to shooters on PC, so the First Descendant took a lot of getting used to. A big issue with the First Descendant is the tutorials. They're hard to follow, they're uninteresting, and the game still feels confusing. Also, a minor gripe I had was that I had such a hard time tracking enemies. It's not even funny. I think my TV is either messed up or something. Take into account that if you lie very far away from your TV, you might also have trouble seeing enemies. They don't stand out from the environments in some location at all. It makes it hard to notice. I'm not even going to bother getting into monetization because 1, I don't have time to research how bad it is to comparable titles. 2, I didn't bother to look. 3, I wouldn't spend money on the game no matter how much I enjoyed it. And 4, right now the game for me is just easy enough to avoid checking those shops. One thing is for certain though, this game is going to be overly monetized by Nexon. I would put money on it. If you have trouble with monetizations and microtransactions, I'd suggest staying away from the game or just avoid the parts of the menu with them. Here's hoping Nexon takes their player count and creates a high quality game with just cosmetics in the shop and nothing that's gameplay altering. Many Korean developed multiplayer games do this, so hopefully the First Descendant doesn't. Unfortunately, this is unlikely now, as the grind to unlock new characters is incredibly long. If you want someone else to play as, good luck. You're almost forced to spend money to try something new. So, let me know what you think. Have you been interested in the First Descendant? It's been out for a few weeks and still is hitting close to its initial peak. We'll see if the game keeps up the pace, or if it's just another throwaway free-to-play game that'll be forgotten about after a year. Either way, that is up to the heads at Nexon. For now though, I'm having a lot of fun despite the fact that I'm terrible at this game. I hope that if you've tried it, you are having fun with it too.